research. And so we have to be very careful. We can't get into sloppy method, okay?
I don't think that it is important to
Rumana, we have to move on to somebody else.
No, it is very, but the big question that Rumana raised actually is religion. That was the more important question. These things I think are controversial, they can be talked about, debated, changed, whatever. The question of religion that you're asking, and what is the feminist scholars who have been talking about religion, is another axis of power, and that needs to be discussed very carefully. But let's not forget that people do live with religion. Much as we may say in the academic world that religion is a problem, people worldwide do have a sense of whether they agree or disagree, there is some sense of being part of a community, of a religious community. Religion has been used by states and other groups of people over and over again, as I've also documented. The Pakistan state, Ayub Khan's period and others, have used religion in a way precisely to undo the values that religion is supposed to uphold. So I'm returning back to a people's ethics using religion. It is not moving towards religion. It is asking for a people's ethics that comes out of religion and guides you to a very different place from where the state wants to guide you. So it is not religion without power. It is giving religion its power coming from the people's understanding of what it should be.
No, we are running out of time. This gentleman is next.
Yeah, he was waiting for a long time.
As you talked about the reconciliation, so after 40 years of the war, at present the government plan to bring the justice who committed the crimes. So how you think it is possible to reconcile? Because most of them are arrested, as we know from the newspaper, they are opposition. So how you think it could be reconciliation?
Good question. See, I'm not a very practical-minded person here. I'm not thinking how you can really go around doing it. And particularly given that so many people are, as you said, dead and gone, and also unwilling to do this kind of stuff. It requires a different kind of courage, honestly speaking, to even stand up and say, I committed a crime. I think I have gone to Pakistan since I've written this book, and I have given talks there, and it's amazing, the reception in Pakistan, where people do want to talk about it. Because when I had first gone there in 2004 and had spoken to graduate students, they did not even know that Bangladesh and East Pakistan are the same place. It has been so deleted and erased from their history books that students, PhD students doing history, had no idea that this was the same place. So now there is a need to reinsert that story and begin it very much there. The history curriculum has to change. It has to be able to talk about the past. Once you insert knowledge, questions emerge. And it's a process, again, like peace. It's a continuous process. And reconciliation is the goal to something that may happen, but may not happen. But once Pakistanis are able to admit that this was what their nation was about 40 years ago, we have an opening. That's all I can say. We don't have Desmond Tutu, and we do not have,
Excuse me, really have to.
We can talk afterwards. Yeah, I'll have to.
We're running out of time. We've really.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. I'm not sure how many questions the moderator will allow me to carry on. The first question I might ask, with regard to the reflections you mentioned about the victims, both Bengali and non-Bengali, and also the perpetrators, especially of those of Pakistanis. Madam, did you interview any perpetrators of Bengalis who raped or killed Biharis? And if so, what was their reflections, if you can kindly say so? Second question, if you...
One question, I'll just give you we'll talk after. Actually, the book would not have gone where it did. I would not have worked with perpetrators, because that was not my original intention, if it was not for a Bengali man who first told me of his attempt to rape a young woman who was his neighbor. And the entire story, it was like a flashback moment by moment. How they entered the house, what they did, coming through skyline. It was such a traumatic story that it really made me think about what is the pain of men who commit violence too. If it was not for the Bengali interlocutor, I would not be doing the work. So that's where it started.
Yes, my name is Mulul Hassan. I work for a television here. I would like to thank you for your presentation because that is a sort of challenge to the conventional historiography, and I'm a researcher at King's College London. I'm doing my PhD on what and representation. Very small question. Based on your presentation, are you suggesting that the Pakistani, Indians, Bangladeshi or Biharis are equally responsible for the crime against humanity?
Okay, very, very good question. I don't think you can measure pain and you can measure culpability. You see the outcome, and the outcome is that you have left hundreds and thousands of people devastated, families destroyed, women's life destroyed, men disappeared, whatever. So you now look at that question from the question of culpability and responsibility. It becomes true that the Pakistan state, and at that time, East Pakistan, West Pakistan was one Pakistan with a very differential kind of, So it is the state that's responsible. But do not forget, I think Rumana also had this thing about, were the Indians involved? And I think Rumana read this thing about betrayal as, I don't know how you read it. The word betrayal was used by the Pakistanis because they keep using the word as if, it was a brotherly feud, like a family feud that had happened. So undermine the politics of it and make it look like it was something else. So the states of India and Pakistan, I would first say, are responsible because they allowed that hatred to surface to a point where everybody became just labels and categories, and these categories then could become dehumanized, and as I said, the human was lost. So finally, yes, the Bihar, like I had interviewed a lot of Biharis in Orangi in Karachi, and I had asked very clearly, what was it about the Bengalis that you did not like? You were living next door to them. They said, "Us zamane mein Muslim League ka bhoot sawar tha." So how you manipulate minds, I think, is the most important thing. So going back to his original question, we need to have education of who we are and what we can be. We have forgotten what we can be.